I stayed up till about 10 p.m., just watching random stuff on YouTube on my laptop. On the right side of the screen, there was a queue of clips lined up, ready to autoplay. I clicked on a video of one of my favorite basketball players, Larry Big Al Johnson. The clip showed him sinking a deep last-second shot, clean, smooth, nothing but net. His long blonde hair was tied back in a ponytail, same as always. He looked more like a movie star than a basketball player. I've known Big Al since college. He was the star of the team back then, and he used to live in the same apartment building as me. We ran into each other pretty often, especially during the off-season. When he went pro, he got drafted by the Wizards, the team closest to where I live in Virginia. He retired from the NBA 3 years ago. Now, he's a presenter for Wiz TV. I watched his videos now and then, mostly for the nostalgia. But the next video wasn't about basketball at all, it was a news clip. In it, Big Al was at some club in Miami dancing real close with a blonde woman. It was way too personal, way too familiar. Then I realized something that knocked the air out of me. The blonde was my wife. The video had just been uploaded. The headline said, "Big Al, another conquest." I watched all 3 minutes, barely blinking. At the end, Big Al and Lee, my wife, were caught in a full-on heated kiss. It wasn't just a kiss. It was the kind that leads straight to physical passion, no doubt in my mind. I downloaded the clip immediately. Then I grabbed my phone and called Lee. No answer. I checked the timestamp. It had been recorded just about an hour earlier. It had just gone live online. She was supposed to be in Miami for a 4-day business conference with her ad agency. One of the people on that trip was my close friend, Bart Kovat. He picked up on the third ring, voice thick with sleep, or maybe something else. "Hello? Bart, it's Lee Martin." My own name sounded foreign. I always go by Marty. A beat of silence, full with realization. Then, too casually, "Marty! Hey, man! How you doing?" "Not good, Bart, not good at all." "Do you have any idea where Lee is right now?" My voice was flat, devoid of inflection. Control. Another pause, longer this time. He knew. "Ah, man. Marty, this is... crap." Hesitation. Evasion. "Cut the crap, Bart," I said, the control slipping just a fraction. "She's with Big Al, isn't she? It's all over YouTube already. My kids might see this by morning. Hell, the whole damn world already has. I need information. Now. Is this new? Or has this been going on?" A heavy sigh on his end. Defeated. Okay. Look, they hooked up Tuesday. When we arrived, checked in, went to the welcome reception. She knew him from college, right? They just clicked. Instantly. She makes the daytime meetings barely, but lunches, dinners, she's MIA. Her roommate says Lee hasn't slept in their room once, not a single night since Tuesday. So she's been sleeping with him, I stated. Not a question. Man, we all assume so. It's pretty obvious. They're barely hiding it here. I'm so sorry, Marty. This is messed up. "Yeah, me too," I replied. The words automatic. "Will you see her in the morning?" "Probably. She has to catch the flight back tomorrow afternoon. She usually shows for the morning wrap-up session, skips breakfast, might already be back at the hotel, just in his room." "Right," I said, the coldness returning. "Well, if you see her, tell her not to bother coming back to the house. If she was even planning on it, tell her Al lives nearby. Maybe she can shack up with him. Don't get involved, Bart. But if she asks why, just tell her I know." "Fair enough, man. Will do." "Crap, Marty." "See ya, Bart." I hung up. No need for condolences. Just facts. Lee and I. College sweethearts, almost. We met junior year in some advanced math class. First day, I walked in, looked around, bunch of nerdy guys bunched up in the back, and then there was her. She was sitting by the window, sketching in a notebook. Sunlight hitting her just right. Blonde hair, green eyes, probably 6 feet tall. Not skinny, more like athletic, strong. She had this face that was gorgeous, but not in a stuck-up way. Just real pretty, with a smile that could knock you over. I spotted the empty seat next to her and sat down. "Yeah." Obvious move. She looked up, assessed me quickly. "Well," she drawled, a hint of amusement in her voice. "Tim, see someone was smart enough to take this spot? Was starting to wonder if I smelled funny?" I leaned in a little, pretending to sniff. "You don't smell weird or anything. But hey, I might have to get a little closer just to be sure." She let out this real laugh, deep, unfiltered, the kind that catches you off guard in a good way. "They're all shy nerds in here, huh? What about you? You hiding your nerd badge under that confidence?" "Chem major," I said. minoring in not being shy. I held out my hand. Lee Martin. Lee Moore, she said, shaking my hand with a grip that surprised me. Well, hey, if we ever get married, I won't even have to change the monogram on my suitcase. Look at that. Built-in convenience, I said, trying to play it cool while already halfway gone staring into those green eyes. Then the professor walked in, which honestly saved me from saying something stupid and blowing it 5 minutes in. After class, we walked towards the student union. She confirmed she had a permanent man, shutting down my dinner invitation but agreeing to tutor me. Diner, 4 o'clock, strictly math, she dictated. Those tutoring sessions quickly morphed. We clicked. Math problems became a backdrop for conversations about everything else. She was sharp, funny, ambitious even then. One afternoon, her boyfriend showed up at the diner. Rashad. Medium build, maybe 5'8", solid muscle, hockey player. Intense gaze. We shook hands, the atmosphere shifting instantly. He radiated possessiveness. We talked majors. His was physical training, aiming for coaching or teaching if pro hockey didn't pan out. Lee? Business. I like the idea of making money, she'd said simply. Life kind of wove us together. I threw this little dinner party, just me, Lee, Rashad, and Stephanie. Steph was Rashad's neighbor, a knockout freshman. And yeah, we had a casual thing going on. Nothing serious. Friends with benefits, no drama. We ended up playing bridge, which got way more competitive than I expected. Lee and I teamed up. Her bidding was all instinct and chaos, but somehow it synced perfectly with my more by-the-book style. We crushed it. Stephanie ended up crashing at my place that night. It was fun, no strings, just how it always was between us. We both understood the deal. No confusion, no regrets. A couple of days later, though, I saw Rashad and Stephanie walking across campus together, heading into her dorm building. Observed them heading up in the elevator. Interesting. Later, I knocked on Steph's door. She answered looking flushed, slightly disheveled. Marty, not now. Then realization. Oh, damn, Marty. You saw? Saw enough, I said quietly. Just curious. Look, he's fun. Don't make it weird. It doesn't mean anything. Wouldn't you want to know if Lee was doing this? I asked pointedly. She looked uncomfortable. Yeah, probably. Just don't stir crap up, okay? For Lee's sake. Too late. The bridge tournament Lee had asked me to play in was that Friday. On the drive back, after we surprisingly took third place, the conversation turned. Why didn't you tell me about Rashad and Steph? Lee asked, her voice neutral. Wasn't my place, I deflected. He told me. After Steph told him you saw them, we talked, decided to cool things off for a bit. See how we feel? A pause, then turning to me, locking eyes. Marty, I want you to take me back to your place. If you want to, of course I wanted to. The drive back was a blur of anticipation. Inside my apartment, the kiss was explosive. Pent-up energy finally released. Clothes vanished. It was elemental. Different from the easygoing physicality with Stephanie. This was intense, consuming. We devoured each other multiple times until we collapsed, slick with sweat, hearts pounding in unison, shower, sleep, tangled together. Morning brought coffee and awkward truths. Am I as good as Stephanie? She asked, head tilted. Am I as good as Rashad? I countered. A slow grin spread across her face. He's bigger, she admitted, then winked. But you're better? Steph's very good, I conceded. But Lee, you're fantastic. From that day, we were inseparable. Lee essentially moved in. Rashad objected briefly, then faded away, finding solace, apparently often, with Stephanie. Senior year, Big Al moved into the building, 4th floor, same as Steph. Saw them together sometimes. Polite nods in the hallway. Steph invited us over for dessert once. Al was there. Pleasant evening. But I clocked the way Al watched Lee, a little too intently. Steph must have noticed too. The invitation stopped. We married right after graduation, both 22. I landed a decent government programming job at the Pentagon. Lee joined a PR firm, specializing in corporate advertising aimed at influencing DC politics. My grandfather's house, conveniently located, became ours after the renters moved out. 3 bedrooms, needs work. I tackled the basement renovation myself with help from a high school buddy in construction. Life felt like it was falling into place. Then the twins. Betsy and Linda arrived, turning our world upside down. Lee took a year off. I scaled back, shifting to contract status, working from home, maximizing flexibility. More money, fewer benefits, total control over my schedule. Perfect for managing twin toddlers. By the time the girls turned 4, Lee was back at work full-time, diving headfirst into her career like she had something to prove. I was doing great with my contract work, built a couple of systems that actually had some real commercial value. We had money coming in, a nice place to live, 2 amazing daughters. On paper, everything looked picture perfect. But the energy Lee gave to her job didn't really follow her home. Things between us, physically, they slowed down. When it happened, it was fine for me, but it felt kind of like she was just going through the motions. Routines form. Still, we'd been together 15 years. You settle into habits. You assume the basics are solid. You trust each other. Until you see a 3-minute YouTube clip confirming your wife enjoys public foreplay with a retired basketball star. Friday morning. The house felt unnaturally quiet without the girls. They'd spent Thursday night at Lee's parents', Milt and Ellen's. A pre-planned visit, blessedly coincidental. It meant I hadn't had the chance to break the news, to prepare them. Their phones, I remembered vaguely, had been low on battery. Milt and Ellen used ancient flip phones, no compatible chargers. They were offline, blissfully ignorant for a few more hours. My reprieve was short-lived. Around 8:30 a.m., the school called. Urgent. Mr. Martin, this is Principal Thompson. There's been an incident involving Betsy and Linda. You need to come down right away. Her voice was tight, professional, betraying nothing but seriousness. An incident. Are they hurt? My blood ran cold. There was a bit of a fight. They're in my office now. A few bumps and scratches. You should come in as soon as you can. The drive to the middle school felt endless. My mind kept racing. What kind of fight? With who? What even happened? I didn't wait for a spot. Just pulled up right in front and left the car. Walked straight into the main office. The secretary gave me a tight nod and motioned toward the principal's door. Inside, Betsy and Linda were curled up together on a little couch. Linda had silent tears running down her face. A dark bruise already forming under one eye. Her lip busted. Betsy was staring straight ahead, jaw clenched, fists scraped raw, a red mark across her forehead, and her school top ripped at the shoulder. They looked wrecked, hurt, shaken, and way too small for what they'd just been through. Principal Thompson, who I'd always respected for being no-nonsense and fair, gave me a look and gestured to the chair in front of her desk. Mr. Martin, she began, her voice low. I'm afraid the girls got into a rather serious fight during morning break. What happened? I asked, kneeling in front of my daughters, trying to catch Betsy's eye. She wouldn't look at me. It seems some other students, the principal continued carefully, became aware of a video circulating online involving Mrs. Martin. My stomach plummeted. So much for protecting them. They apparently showed the video to Betsy and Linda on a phone, accompanied by some extremely inappropriate and cruel remarks. What kind of remarks? I asked, my voice dangerously quiet. Principal Thompson hesitated, then sighed. They were taunting them about their mother's behavior, calling her names, and calling you, well, using derogatory terms related to infidelity. And my girls fought them? Yes, it escalated quickly. Several students involved. She motioned towards her desktop monitor. We have the security footage from the yard. She clicked play. The grainy footage showed a cluster of kids surrounding my daughters, pointing fingers, cell phone held up, laughter. Then, motion blurred. I saw Betsy, my fierce, protective Betsy, launch herself at a taller boy, Linda trying to pull her back, then getting shoved by another girl, turning and swinging blindly. It dissolved into a chaotic scrum, hair pulling, kicking, fists flying. My girls were outnumbered, taking hits, but giving as good as they got until teachers pulled everyone apart. It hit me hard, raw and real, seeing my daughters fight like that to defend what was left of our family's name. Bloody knuckles, tear-streaked faces, shaking with anger. I felt this wave of pride swell up, and then the guilt slammed right into me. This was the aftermath. This was what she left behind. Principal Thompson stopped the video. Everyone involved in the fight will be punished, she said formally. Betsy, Linda, she addressed them gently. Fighting is never the answer, but I understand you were defending yourselves and your family. Your father will take you home. They shuffled out, heads down. I thanked the principal, signed them out. The walk to the car was silent. Strapped into the back seat, they stared out opposite windows. I drove, gripping the wheel, searching for words. How do you explain this level of adult failure to 13-year-olds already roughed up by its consequences? Girls, I started, my voice unsteady. What happened at school? Those kids were wrong. Cruel. Nobody has the right to say those things. Silence. Then, Betsy's voice, tight with fury. Is it true, Dad? That video? Was that Mom? No hiding. No softening the blow. They'd already seen the proof, paid the price. Yes, Bets, it was her. A choked sob from Linda in the back. With Big Al Johnson? She whispered. Yes, honey, with him. But why? Linda's voice cracked. Doesn't she love you? How to answer that? Mom made a very bad choice, girls. A grown-up mistake that hurt our family very badly. So, you're getting divorced? Betsy asked, her voice flat, devoid of emotion now. She'd processed it faster, hardened herself already. We need to figure things out, I evaded, not ready to drop that bomb yet. Right now, we need to focus on you two being okay. What happened today? Fighting isn't the way, but I understand why you did. You were defending her. Defending us. Is she going to come home? Linda asked timidly. She's staying with Grandma and Grandpa Moore for a little while, I said carefully. We all need some space right now. More tears from Linda. Betsy remained rigid, staring straight ahead. The rest of the drive home was filled only with the sound of quiet weeping and the heavy weight of truths too painful to bear. That Friday evening, Lee called. 10 times. Each time I saw her name flash, felt a jolt of something, anger, revulsion, a flicker of the old connection, and let it go to voicemail. The messages were variations on a theme, frantic apologies, declarations of love, pleas to talk. Marty, pick up the phone. Marty, please. I love you. I made a mistake. I'll be back this afternoon. Oh crap. Her voice breaking into sobs. Hollow words. Meaningless gestures. Later the parents arrived. Ellen and Milt, my own mom and dad. A united front convened hastily after Lee's tearful calls to them. They'd met briefly on the street outside. We sat in the living room. We decided to find out what you think, my mom, Lacey began tentatively. I looked at her, then around the circle of worried faces. I straightened up, meeting my mother's eyes directly. The devastation must have been plain on my face. I think, I said, my voice raspy but steady, that my marriage is over. Is there any chance? Dad asked quietly. Can you talk to Lee? For what? I shot back, bitterness creeping in. What could she possibly say? She didn't just cheat, Dad. She did it publicly. She destroyed everything. And not just one night, 3 nights, the whole world knows. Ellen, Lee's mother, jumped in, protective. I know she made a mistake, Marty. A big mistake. She understands that, but you have the girls. You've loved each other for years. You can save this. Save what, Ellen? I countered, the volume rising slightly. The woman I married doesn't exist anymore. Or maybe she never did. I don't consider her my wife. I never will again. She's the mother of my children, period. Full stop. Ellen flushed. You're in pain now. Your ego took a massive hit. Marriage doesn't end over a few days. My ego? I laughed, a harsh barking sound. Ellen, I admire you. I even love you as family, but your daughter didn't bruise my ego. She detonated our life. There is no chance. I held her gaze until she looked away, raising her hands in surrender. Please, I added, my voice dropping, weary now. All of you need to think about what life looks like after the divorce. My mother started crying again. Just wait, Marty. A few days. Give it time. Your father and I can take the girls for the weekend. To the lake house. Give you space. Space sounded right. Necessary. I agreed. The girls, quiet but clearly relieved to get away, packed their things fast. I laid it out plain and simple. No visits to Lee this weekend. They needed space just as much as I did. That weekend was a blur of legal consultations and raw emotion. I met Joan Ellis, the family law attorney, sharp, direct, maybe late 40s. So, she started after pleasantries. Divorce, are you sure? It's a hard road. 2 children? Yes, twins, 13, I confirmed. And yes, I'm sure custody is my priority. Has this happened before? Or is Miami an isolated incident? As far as I know, isolated. Doesn't matter. Once is enough. Okay, she nodded. We dug into the financials and parenting stuff. The house being mine before the marriage worked in my favor. So did the fact that I worked from home and had been the main one taking care of the kids. All solid points when it came to custody, though she reminded me that nothing was ever a sure thing. As for child support, probably not a big deal. We made about the same money, give or take. How quickly can we file? I asked. Week, maybe, to draft and file. But, Marty, she leaned forward slightly. I strongly advise waiting. Courts often order counseling in cases like this, especially with children involved. People change their minds. Counseling? With her? The thought revolted me. Can we avoid that? Unlikely you can avoid it entirely. We can try to minimize direct interaction, structure it carefully. She paused, noticing my hands, still raw and bandaged from the punching bag session Friday night. Bandages? Had a disagreement with a heavy bag, I muttered. Forgot the gloves. Good. Better the bag than Mr. Johnson or your wife. A sharp look. Speaking of, can I sue him? Alienation of affection? Something he needs to pay. Joan sighed. Unfortunately, no. Virginia abolished those heart-balm torts years ago. Florida, too. No legal recourse against the third party. He has to pay, I repeated, my voice low, chillingly calm even to my own ears. I won't sleep until he faces consequences. Her expression became guarded. Mr. Marty, lawyer-client talk stays private, no question. But if I find out that you're planning to hurt someone, then I'm obligated to say something. That's just how it works. You won't, I cut her off smoothly. You'll have no such knowledge. She held my gaze for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Understood. Get me the financials. We'll prepare the initial filings. I signed the retainer, paid the fee. Left her office feeling empty, but resolute. Driving home, my phone rang. No caller ID. Voicemail kicked in. Lee's voice, desperate. Marty, please pick up. I need to talk to you. I screwed up. I know it. Am I losing you? No, please. I know how angry you are. Confused. I'm really sorry. More sobbing, then a click. Hearing her voice, that raw pain, it triggered my own. The dam broke again. Tears streamed down my face as I drove. Then the anger surged back, hot and protective. I pulled over, breathing hard, knuckles white on the steering wheel, down to the basement again. Had the gloves on this time. Pounded the bag until I couldn't anymore. Drenched in sweat, hands throbbing, lungs on fire. All I could see was Big Al's face, burned into the leather with every hit. Later that evening, I got too restless to sit still, so I headed out. I needed intel. Needed to understand the landscape of my enemy. Took the point, 380 Taurus, the untraceable one I'd found jogging years ago, serial number filed off, kept just in case, and tucked it into the waistband holster I'd rigged. Drove towards Big Al's neighborhood, about 3 miles north. Big house, new construction, close to the street. Basketball hoop in the driveway, no car visible, but a large detached garage out back. Looked vulnerable. Too easy. Shaking my head at the thought, I looped around, snapping a few discreet photos with my phone, documenting the territory. Then, past Lee's parents' house. Milt and Ellen's cars were there. No sign of Lee's car, still in my garage. Good. Kept driving. Stopped at a CVS, bought a burner phone, Diet Pepsi, simple, untraceable communication if needed. Back home, the house was silent. Turned on my real phone. 11 voicemails, 20-odd texts, family, friends, colleagues. All variations of, "Are you okay?" "Call me." The usual concerned noises. Milt's text stood out. The first, a heartfelt apology for Lee for his perceived failings as a father. The second, sent minutes ago. Marty, saw you wanted to talk earlier. Can we meet? Away from the women? Intriguing. I called his burner number back immediately. Voicemail. 3 minutes later, he called me. Raymond Park, near the hoops court? His voice sounded strained. Interesting choice. Half a mile from Al's house. Okay, 30 minutes. I checked the Taurus, tucked it securely again. Milt was already there, sitting on a bench near the basketball court, watching some kids shoot hoops. We shook hands, a brief, firm grip. Sat down side by side. Wanted to make sure you were okay, Marty. He started, looking out at the court. Ellen and your mom, they were worried. I'm not okay, Milt. Not even close. Feel like crap warmed over. If it helps any, Milt continued, turning to look at me. Lee's almost catatonic. Hasn't eaten. Barely spoken 3 sentences since she got to our place. We're thinking of give her professional help. You actually look better than she does. Guilt, I suppose. Sorry to hear that, Milt, for the twins' sake. They need their mother, whatever state she's in. I paused, the next question forming. Why, Milt? Why'd she do it? She threw everything away. Can't figure it, Marty. Ellen thinks. Maybe the pressure, being away, celebrity attention. She just succumbed. Weak moment. Weak moment? I scoffed. This was calculated. She wanted Al back in college. This was unfinished business. And maybe she thought she could have her cake and eat it too. Maybe, he conceded quietly. What are you going to do? Divorce her. Can't imagine looking at her, living with her, knowing what she did. Look, Milt leaned forward, his voice low, intense. I know everyone else is telling you to wait. Take your time. But I can't see how you two ever get back from this. How any marriage could, he clapped me on the shoulder. Case is lost, son. Just prepare her. I'll try, Milt, but no promises. We stood up, shook hands again. I started walking back towards my car, parked a block over. Just as I reached my car, I saw him. Big Al, dribbling a basketball down the cross street, heading towards the park courts. My hand went to the gun tucked in my waistband. Time slowed down. Then chaos. Milt's car, pulling away from the curb, suddenly blared its horn. A long, sharp blast. Al flinched, caught off guard, and lost control of the ball. It bounced off and rolled straight into the street. Like a kid chasing after a toy, he took off without even looking. He didn't see the SUV coming from the other direction, partly blocked by Milt's car, which had just sped up. Then came the screech of brakes. And that sound. That awful, heavy thud. Al flew up over the hood, smashed into the windshield, then flipped through the air and hit the pavement hard, landing in a twisted pile. It was brutal. Milt kept driving, didn't even slow down. I ran towards Al, heart pounding. The SUV driver, some older guy, stumbled out, already calling 911, rambling like he was in shock. Al was still alive, barely, eyes open, but fading quick. His gaze found mine for a second. There was a flicker of recognition. He tried to say something, but all that came out was a wet, choking sound. Then, nothing. I could hear sirens in the distance. Paramedics showed up fast, rushed in, tried everything. But it was no use. Big Al Johnson was gone. And what hit me in that moment wasn't grief. It wasn't relief either. It was something else. Like I'd been robbed. Like fate stepped in and stole my moment. I didn't get to say what I needed to say. I didn't get my reckoning. Police arrived. Questions, forms, the usual. I gave them my statement, said what I saw. Ball rolled out. Al ran after it. Driver didn't have time to stop. Just a tragic accident. They asked about weapons. My concealed carry permit covered the guns I legally owned, so I mentioned those. The Taurus? Yeah. Kept quiet. It stayed tucked in the holster, out of sight, out of conversation. The old guy who hit Al was a mess, shaking, barely holding it together. I told him it wasn't his fault, that there was nothing he could have done. It wasn't much, but I think it helped a little. They let me go without any trouble. I headed home. On the way, I dumped the Taurus in a random dumpster a few miles out. No way I was keeping that around. Then I drove straight to Milt's place. I figured Lee might be there, but I wasn't there for her. I needed to talk to Milt. I needed to ask about that horn. Milt opened the door. I waved him outside. Milt, I said, once we were on the lawn. Big Al's dead. His face remained impassive. It was you? Saw you had that gun. No, he got hit by a car, right after you honked. He chased his ball into the street. I watched him closely. No surprise, no shock, just acceptance. You planned that, didn't you? The horn? He looked away, then met my gaze. Maybe I startled him a bit. A slight smile played on his lips. God works in mysterious ways, Marty. Then, practical again. You or Ellen should tell Lee her boyfriend died. Boyfriend? He wasn't. I stopped. What did it matter? Guess it'll be news soon anyway. Felt cheated when he died, I confessed. Like he got off easy. Then, I don't know. Relief, maybe? That it's over? Marty, Milt said, his voice dropping again, earnest. I want to save my daughter. She's heading for the abyss. I know she screwed up royally, but she's my blood. I want her to have a life, so I'm asking, if you see a way, don't interfere. Maybe later, lend a hand. Difficult request, I know. Milt, I need time. Let me think. Fair enough? He nodded. Then a wry twist of his lips. Congrats on walking away without catching a charge, son. I got in my car and drove away, the weight of the day settling heavily upon me. 2 weeks later, the courtroom was quiet but tense. Just the judge, a clerk, a bailiff, and the cold, formal rhythm of family law. Lee sat at the petitioner's table with her attorney. She kept her eyes low, hands folded in her lap. The clerk called our case. Martin v. Martin. Final hearing for fault-based divorce. Judge Hughes, mid-50s, clean-cut, glanced through the file, then looked up. This is a divorce action based on adultery. Miss Ellis, you're alleging fault? Joan, my attorney, stood. Yes, Your Honor. We've submitted video evidence of the respondent engaging in an extramarital relationship during a business trip. Lee's lawyer stood. We're not contesting the divorce or custody arrangement, Your Honor. The respondent understands she forfeits spousal support under Section 20, 107.1 due to fault-based findings. Judge Hughes nodded. Any community property or contested assets? Joan replied calmly. No, Your Honor. The marital home was purchased by my client prior to the marriage with non-marital funds and remained titled solely in his name. No dispute. The judge tapped her pen twice. Custody? Joan handed over the schedule. We're proposing primary custody to Mr. Martin. The children are already in his care, and he was their primary caregiver while working remotely. The respondent will have supervised visitation every other weekend until further review. The judge looked at Lee. Miss Martin, do you understand and accept these terms? Lee cleared her throat. Yes, Your Honor. No tears, no begging. Just done. The judge signed the papers with 2 swift strokes of her pen. Divorce granted on grounds of adultery, custody and visitation as outlined, no spousal support awarded, case closed. She didn't even look up. Joan leaned toward me and whispered, That's everything, you're out clean. I nodded once. No relief, no collapse, just the cold click of a door closing for good.